I'm out at Shelby Ironworks today. Gonna be looking through the woods right over here. I got a tip that some of the 200 houses that were here on this site were in those woods. So I'm gonna be digging through the high bushes and the briars and looking for old home sites and bottles and trash and just seeing what kind of cool stuff I can come across. Everything over here has been seen, and so I like to go to the little bit more off the beaten path route and find the stuff that's been lost and nobody has found yet. So I'm gonna be going through the briars, and so let's get started. Right inside the wood here, the first thing I see is a lot of concrete in a structure here. Kind of a funny shaping structure. Moving over this way, there's another small concrete structure with a lot of concrete in it. Went a couple of 100 feet and I'm seeing a different type of brick. It's not a fire brick like you see over at the ironworks. This looks more like a house type brick. So I'm gonna look around up on this little rise here. I got the metal detector, see if I can't find anything from the house site. Seeing a lot of small stuff, but probably nails. I did come across one good reading here, and it's a piece of slag that still has a lot of iron in it. So we may be still a little too close to the ironworks to be getting into the houses, so I'm gonna move a little farther through the woods that way. So I'm probably 100 yards from the furnace now, and I've come across a pretty large slag skull. A slag skull is where they've dumped out the slag pot, and so it's called a skull. This is one of the bigger ones I've seen. And I've also come across a driveway for what I believe is a neighborhood. So I've got to work my way back to the road and get around that. And hopefully the home sites will start after that. I also found a piece of steel here. Some type of pipe clamp or something. It's rounded on the inside and then kind of like a triangle on the outside. Pretty heavy. Just past the driveway up into the woods again. A lot of nails. There's a lot of nails scattered through here, and then railroad spikes. So as soon as I came in the woods, the nail signature started. So there was some type of a structure here, and I'm gonna keep working my way through these woods and see if I can't find any kind of a concrete or brick foundation. I'm getting a ton of small steel nails, but there's also piles of slag here still. So I'm not sure if this was dumped here later or if I'm still just not quite far enough. Here's some more red bricks. I've pushed my way through some really thick brush and briars and haven't seen anything really. A couple of bottles that weren't antique, and a lot of nails and a lot of slag still. So I've pushed pretty good ways through the woods, and I came across a clearing here. But my favorite thing I've come across is this giant tree here, y'all. It is massive. At the bottom of the roots here, I've noticed that the camera, it does not do justice to size. It is, we're looking at a good 10 feet from right there to right there. And this tree is, I'm thinking 160 feet tall. Just a giant canopy up there. This thing is massive. I wish this tree could tell me where the houses were, because I guarantee you it was here when everything went on here. It was here when Wilson raided this place and burned it down. This tree saw it happen. This is a beautiful tree. This got to be the biggest oak I've ever seen. I found a lot of bottles like this. Nothing embossed, nothing antique. Just a lot of bottles from the 70s and 80s. Found this cast iron just under the leaves. I'm not sure what that would have been. I thought at first maybe a tray for ashes, but it's not really deep enough for that. I don't know. Hard to say. I'm right by the road now, and I've found a brick pile here. Different than the other ones I've seen, and there's a lot of nails in this brick pile. And I found something right here a little bigger. Thought I had. Right there. All right. So, let's see what I can't find here. Got a really cheap metal detector. It doesn't go very deep, so it can't be too deep. Well, just because it's not deep doesn't mean it's easy. This little hole right here was covered in roots. Not sure what it is. Little U-shaped channel of metal. Nothing really. Not too exciting anyway. So I'm not so sure the houses were actually in this area. I'm gonna move to another side of town. I had to get quiet there. I was hearing something coming, and probably can't see, but there's a fella in front of me. He was talking to himself real loud, and pretty sure he's on one. I didn't feel like getting engaged with him. So I'm gonna avoid him and move to the cemetery and see if there's anything alive over there. So I'm pretty sure this house here was one of the original houses. And this area behind it here would have been the camp for the people that worked there. From riding around the blocks here, it looks like this whole area was the company houses, and they're just demolished and gone, and people have brought in mobile homes and built other structures. A couple of them are still there, but for the most part they're gone. They weren't very big, and they weren't very high quality, so wasn't the type of house that you would have saved. That looks like one. A lot of overgrown properties here. Supposedly there were 200 houses in its prime here, so all of these lots would have been occupied by little families whose daddy worked at the iron works. This one here would have been a boss. Very old house, not your average mill worker. There's a house growing up here in the bushes. See if I can't take a look at it real quick. I've seen a lot of people walking around, and this doesn't look like the type of place that you really want to be messing with abandoned houses. I saw another guy coming out of the woods wearing a backpack. Somebody sat right here with water dripping not too long ago. You see the water in the drip? Somebody sat right here in front of this house. I'm gonna go and get out of here. A lot of people messing around in the woods. A lot of people walking around talking to themselves. Police looking at me crazy for rolling around slow. Shelby is not a it's not a thriving metropolis. There's a lot of drugs here, and not a lot of archaeologists digging around for old home sites. They're looking for a place to hide. And I got nothing to worry about. I just don't feel like getting hemmed up, confused for a meth head. So I'm gonna ease out of Shelby. But I know where the houses weren't. Pretty sure I know where they were. They're just torn down and gone now. Nothing really to see here. Still a lot left of the ruins at Shelby Ironworks, so that's cool. But the town is about gone and dried up. So, see y'all later. Meerkat's out.